All of you may or may not know me. My name is Paul Kingery. I'm the Liberty Township trustee for Tiffin County. Good evening, members of the board. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you tonight. I come to you on behalf of those who serve our community every day, our firefighters, and with a request that affects the safety and the future of Sharpsville and the township. Our fire station has served us well for many years, but in reality, it no longer meets the needs of a modern fire service. The building is outdated and lacks the infrastructure to support today's equipment and personnel. This isn't just for comfort. It's about safety, efficiency, and being ready when our community needs us. Before we can begin any major improvements, we need to take a responsible, informed approach. That includes conducting comprehensive financial and engineering studies. These studies will help us understand the full scope of work needed to establish cost estimates and ensure we're making a smart, sustainable decision going forward. Tonight, I'm asking for your support, not just in spirit, but in helping us to take the critical first steps, where that's assistance, funding, guidance, or partnership. Our leadership is key in moving this project forward. The fire station isn't just a building. It's a symbol of our town and our township's commitment to safety, service, and to each other. Let's work together to ensure it's a place that's ready for the future. Do you guys have any questions?
So you will start the process of getting these
We are looking.
questions answered?
We are looking now, the township board has requested that we start a study to look at the infrastructure and make sure that it's suitable for what the department wants to do. Okay? Then we'll look at the financial aspect of which way we want to go. Whether it be the current building, new building, how we want, which way we need to go. But the first thing is going to start with studies to make sure we're doing the right thing and be cost effective to our constituents. We don't know what's that going to entail as far as a partnership between the township and the town. It could be a lot of things, or it could be nothing. It could be the township takes it on and moves on, or it could be a partnership with all of us working together. But I think the beginning is going to be getting our financial study, actually looking at the building, making sure that everything is what we need it to be before we move forward. Whether we have drain issues, floor issues, anything like that. We know the roof's new. Any other questions?
Especially if we're working on expanding the tax base in the town, with housing, then definitely we need you guys,
Right.
up and available.
We need to look to the future. It's just, the issue is not only safety of the people, but safety of the firefighters. We gotta look out. There's a lot of cancer-causing agents that the firefighters deal with every day in their gear. We need to get that separated from the trucks, from the areas where we do training to where we have our classroom. We need to get all that, those carcinogens out of that area. And that's part of it. The part of it being just a big barn now doesn't do that function. It doesn't keep anybody safe because the trucks going in and out while we're having classes creates diesel, which is soot, which is in their bodies' lungs. And there are systems that they have in place in other places that can remove that from the building. It's a big hose that's attached to the exhaust.
Coincidentally, I was on a call with several work comp carriers and municipalities, and the cancer rates are up quite a bit for police and fire.
Right. And it's more of a safety issue for everybody. Not only our firefighters, but the community. Because they come into that building. There's fire gear there, there's trucks there. We have the community in for fish fries. When we do make this change, we're gonna make it more of a community area where the community can come in and enjoy the facilities. So it's not only gonna be a fire station, but it's gonna be a community type center.
You talk about kind of internal structures.
That's gonna come out of the studies.
Okay.
But the preliminary drawings that the department came up with, they had an engineer go in and do some drawings for them, so they could get an idea of what they were looking at. Yeah. Interior work on the inside, maybe some exterior, but I'm not sure. That's gonna be left to the studies.
Are you looking for financial support from us for the study, or?
Not at this time, I don't think so. I may come back one money in the future.
Leave that door open.
But not at this time. We're in talks with an engineering company called Etica, out of Indianapolis. They do a lot of fire stations. They do a lot of rehabs on fire stations. So there'll be a wealth of knowledge for all of us. And there will be a committee formed when the studies are done and we know which direction we're going to go. We're going to have to form a committee, and I would like for the town board to be involved in whatever way they deem necessary, because it is our community.
I'm on the North Central Indiana Regional Planning Council with Stephen Ray, who you may have seen
Right.
here at a meeting. We've got a meeting next month. I will definitely put this,
Okay.
so he's aware there might be some grant money available for
Right.
construction and things like that, so.
And that's what this Etica is also into, is they steer you in those directions for safety and for communities. So if we want to add a community room to it and have the community in, there's money for that. And there's money for the safety aspect of removing the carcinogens from the living quarters or the teaching quarters of the department. So that's what they're going to help us with. I do have some drawings that the department drew up about 5 years ago of what they're thinking of. If you guys want to take a look at them, I have some for you. And these are just preliminary. We're not sure exactly what's going to come of it.
Is that a copy we can have?
Yes, you can.
Okay.
Oh, we're all the same thing?
They're all,
Okay.
they're all exactly the same. It's just a sketch. They had one drawing.
It's about the same as when you had me in for the meeting that.
Yes, yes. The financials were not there. But we have to do something.
Yeah.
Just for safety.
Absolutely.
Any more questions? All right, well, thank you for your time,
All right, thank you.
and we'll get to work on it.
All right. What's the water?
That was what we were talking about the last couple months, about that like board with
Oh, okay.
civilians on it, and
Right.
I just had my notes to put it on the agenda for this month.
Right. All right. So I guess about the water committee, and have you guys thought much about that?
Well, we've built a water tower, we've done quite a few things without any of that type of membership.
Well, as far as I know, you've never had one.
Yeah, I was looking at the ordinance, we don't have to have one, and of course, we could even, by state law, revoke the ordinance allowing us to have one if we wanted to.
Okay.
So the question is really, do you want one? And when I saw water committee, I thought, well, okay, maybe we want a water committee that's not really a water board with authority, but just some committee to report to the town board. But yeah, basically, it's really unusual in a dozen towns we represent, if you have fewer than 2,000 residents, like Tipton, for example, has a Board of Works and Safety, but not a water board. The water is under Board of Works and Safety. I don't know how big Tipton is, but a lot bigger than Sharpton.
Right.
I mean, how big is Tipton? 10,000?
5,000.
5,000. And that's about the line. 2,000, you don't usually have boards like that.
We're like 600.
Yeah.
And we have town members that report daily on problems.
To you, right?
Yeah, we,
Well,
Or the people who work for the water department.
yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, it's kind of the same thing with municipal courts, right? And P and Z, you know, the planning and zoning, that's us in the town this size. You want a permit, you know, there's not a P and Z committee, you come to the board, and that's kind of the way it is. But now, we have the authority if we want to create a water board, but we never have. As Rob points out, a lot of related projects without it.
Either way, yay or nay, do we take a vote on it or
Well,
a motion to?
I mean, we really don't have to vote. We could vote if we wanted to create one.
Right. That's, I figured that was great, but I didn't know.
So, right, I think what we're doing right now is trying to decide if we want to take a vote to create one, otherwise we can just go and do what we're doing.
Okay.
Carol, make a motion.
Utility manager report. Benji's out on an emergency repair right now. So I'll try to fumble my way through his notes again. We got the mileage on the trucks, the mower, the backhoe. We had 5 locates, sent in the monthly back tees, I think is what it's pronounced. Water usage for the month was 51,939,000 gallons. He sent in the MROs to IDM. Wastewater pumped, gallons of it. Jim, nothing to report. Park, nothing to report, but I'm gonna add a side note in there. We lost a tree in the last storm, and it hit the fence around the tennis court. And Benji's in process, I think, with you, trying to check with insurance on whether they'll cover any of it. I think, if I understood it, it was $2,500.
Yeah, that was how much we have to pay for it.
Before they'll touch it.
Yeah.
So Benji's looking into getting the pipe and stuff to repair it themselves. So that'll be something that we'll, I
And I-
guess, discuss next month.
I'm sorry, I think the cost, if anyone sees a cost on the financials that you have, there was a cost involved to remove that tree. It was hired out. Do you remember paying it?
Yeah,
It was 1,500, wasn't it?
1,500,
I think it was 1,700.
1,700? Okay.
But that was, actually, if you've ever had trees cut down, that's not bad on price. Especially with the size of that tree and the danger of it. So they had the equipment to come in and be able to lift it out of there and get it cut. So they did a pretty good job, in my opinion. They had it, I think, all finished, cleaned up the next day. They started on Sunday and finished it on Monday. The main lift station, IPW, installed a new discharge line. When they turned the pump on, the PLC screen was not communicating to the pump. They installed a new overload and a temporary screen till we get the panel fixed. Basically, that new panel down there, or the panel, I should say, not the, has been butchered. Trying to remember all the terms. there's a device in there that allows the pump to kick on slowly and build up the speed. And then it shuts down the same way and slowly shuts it down, so that it doesn't hammer on and hammer off, and it's more gentle to the motors. Those have been removed. I don't know when or why. But the PLC is the computer screen that reads everything. And I guess it's out there, the temporary one on it right now. Benji has been in the process of getting estimates on replacing that panel, upgrading it, which if we've been talking about bringing more homes into the area and stuff, into the system, we're gonna need that working. We don't have a choice. We've gotta put some money into it. The money I got a brief estimate on it. It's not cheap. Where'd it go?
It's in his report
Oh,
on the last
That's right.
page.
It's on that last page. I was just looking at it. It's gonna be in the estimate of somewhere between $65,000 and $86,000 to bring it up to par and working. Here a month ago or so, we had a pump go out down there, and the flange at the bottom was broken. So they had to go down into there, pump it all out, go down and fix the flange, so the pump would actually work. Well, North End's giving us problems now too. We've got one pump on it. It's working, it's doing its job, but it's working on one pump and not two. Benji asked about buying another pump for down here. They're expensive, and the last one we had sat on the shelf for so long, the warranty ran out before it got installed. So when it went out, the warranty was gone already. They're not hard to get, and this company actually installs them for us. So we'll let them have it, and the warranty starts from the day that we put the pump in, is my suggestion, instead of keeping one on hand like we used to. I think that was about it. He's got some projects coming up. He's on Water Leak now, like I said. There's one on North Street that's been there for a while. It's a little leak, but it's right beside the telephone pole. So I talked to him about getting Duke to come in. They're gonna come in and support the pole. And then he's got Omni come in and gonna back it out the side of it. So there's no digging or anything. The support will hold the pole from falling over once he gets the hole dug and fixes the leak. So, but with it being sitting right next to the hole, I suggest that we get that supported. And I know there's some other things on his to-do list, but he started the flushing of the hydrants when the lift station down here went down, so he had to pull off of it. And when the flushings happen, once you start them, you need to finish them all the way through. Because if you have to stop for any amount of time, you need to start back at the beginning. So that's on his agenda to do as soon as he gets these water leaks fixed. And Marshall.
Mine will be relatively quick. The May activity report is attached. The only thing that I'm going to add to that, I forgot to put on up there with it. On the 31st of May, the Tempe Police Department, the Sheriff's Office, Indiana State Police, Windfall Police, and myself did a countywide blitz. So there was a lot of police. If you guys were out that night, 187 traffic stops, netted 12 arrests. So it was it was a proactive night. And then the rest of that report's attached. As far as ordinance updates go, the property at 111 South Brown, as well as the 221 West High, pretty much remains the same. There has been some cleaned up on the 111 South Brown, but it's still a lot of trash items and everything else. The 221 West High, there has been great improvement. I've talked with them multiple times. I've checked on it multiple times in the last week. They've had 2 dumpsters out there now. So it is heading in the right direction. I'm going to continue checking for the next couple of weeks, and hopefully it starts getting squared away because we're getting close on that one. 126 South Brown, issues remain. Property is still not within good standing. It's probably gotten worse. 235 East Walnut, same was issued a warning for items and vehicles on property. Property has had improvement. Citation to follow. It says it's June 31st, but in case you're wondering, there is no June 31st. June 30th. 122 East Elm, no change. Neighbor will continue to lawn care per their agreement. Property remains hazardous. 328 North, vehicles not plated and in disrepair. Spoke to the resident, and she is working to have things addressed by June 14th. I said North, I think. I meant North. There has been improvement on that one. There's stuff, they've gotten things cleaned up and campers and vehicles moved around. So it's heading the right way, heading in the right direction as well. So I'll actually check on that tomorrow or Saturday. 122 South Washington, trash and debris around property, plans to be addressed by June 14th. 904 North, vehicles, trash, debris, wood, and construction debris, mostly addressed. There was complaints about the vehicles not being plated. The vehicles are plated now. Plans to completely have everything in line as well by June 14th. So they'll be cut off at that point. 909 North Church, spoke to the resident regarding vehicle and debris on property, given until June 21st to remedy. Citation to follow. I left a note on him. It took me a couple days to get in touch with him. There is, I think, 5 or 6 vehicles back behind a garage up there. I don't believe any of them are operable. So in the conversation I had with him, he's planning on getting rid of everything as well as cleaning up that property. He did ask for an extension. It was originally June 14th as well. Being it was our first, I granted it. 48 West Vine, vehicles not movable and weeds growing around them was the initial complaint. The weeds and vegetation were addressed immediately. Vehicle remedied by June 14th. As far as general golf cart ordinances, 6 permits were issued in the month of May. We had a lot of issued there right towards in between April meeting and May. The Youth Baseball League and the Softball League parade was rescheduled for this coming Saturday. So with the board's permission, I'll be kind of shutting down parking tomorrow night through 10 o'clock on Saturday morning. It shouldn't be a problem because you're not supposed to park there overnight anyways. We don't usually have too many issues with that. Route same as last year. Yeah, and then obviously the traffic at the 300 block of South Main will be a little bit of a cluster for a minute. As far as the Tahoe actions, I'd recommend taking bids until next meeting if that's what you guys choose to do. It's hard to do that when you're not going to get it wholesale, unfortunately, because it's not running. So that's the issue with that. On May 16th, a search warrant was issued and completed by Sheriff's Department, Tipton Police Department, and Sharpsville Police Department. 5 arrests were made and transported to the jail. Possession of methamphetamine, paraphernalia, and syringes, and as well as visiting or maintaining a common nuisance. Roadway was closed for approximately 5 hours for that. There is no needs at this time, and I don't think I forgot anything. So, any questions for me?
This North Church Street, north of the 909 North Church Street,
Yes.
would be north of 403.
Yeah.
There's 2 houses up there that have had trees fallen from the storm. As of yesterday, they were cutting them up
Yeah.
and removing them.
I left a voicemail. I think one, if I remember, I might be misremembering, but I left a voicemail for a management company. I'm not sure what it was, but I did leave a voicemail for that, and then I seen that they were cutting it up. So
Yeah, at least they removed all the branches. And
yes,
when I last drove past there, the long tree was still laying there, but they were working on one of them with a chainsaw.
yeah. There's a couple of those properties that have changed hands, so it's kind of in between. For
The
instance, there's
that's
one on.
vacant.
Yeah,
The
no,
one that caught on fire a few years back looks vacant.
yeah. There's a property on Trenton now that's not occupied, and I've had to go back and forth with the management company on that. So.
You all set for July 5th?
Oh, thank you for bringing that up.
So you did forget
I
something.
did forget. I knew I was going to. July 5th, with the festival fireworks, I do have additional manpower as far as coverage goes for that. They just sent me the roads they're requesting to shut off, it pretty much mirrors last year. So there's no, according to this, there's no major changes. The only one that might be a little different is Brown, the 300 block of South Brown, just right next to the park. Looks like they have vendor parking there, so they can still access off of Elm, off West Elm. But for the most part, it'll be pretty much all parking. But outside of that, yeah, everything looks good. So the only board action I'm requesting is just restricting parking overnight on this Friday into Saturday morning, as well as the July 5th parking arrangements, which is the same as, or excuse me, route arrangements. It'll pretty much be that. I'll be out. I'll shut it down about 7 o'clock in the morning, and it'll stay shut down till probably 2 a.m. So vendors can get in and out safely, and other people, obviously.
Make a motion to close down the streets needed for the youth parade and for the festival on July 5th.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes. Okay. Okay.
Yes, sir. Okay, so Ray, 122 East Elm looks like that's still pretty bad. Is that Davis?
Yes.
Davis property. Okay, so I think it's time that one went on the Mark Renee County Attorney tax records, which we've been trying to do, but they seem to not necessarily know how to do that, but Mark does. Which one is Joe Horn's property?
126 South Brown. That's the one that you have it against already. Or I don't think it's been filed.
Right, and
No, he
well,
was giving him a minute.
exactly. I just wondered what the status looks like. Do we want to
He-
offer to release our judgment for some reasonable amount of money, like attorney's fees, or what do we want to do there?
Just as far as ordinance goes, it's still not even close to being within standards.
Is it,
So.
it's really not?
No.
Okay. All right. Want to give it more time, or what do you want to do?
That's
As
a
board.
that's a board decision.
Yeah.
I've done all I can do with it.
Well, until the burned up house gets resolved, I mean, they're catty corner. We can't, I don't know about taking action on one versus, we know the burned house is in the process, we hope. Unless he does something in August or September, when his 1 year is
November,
up.
I think I think it's in November.
He takes possession of it in November, I
November.
believe.
Yeah.
15th.
The 15th? Okay, so I think we all know the Horn property is not going to change. It gets better, it gets worse, it gets better, it gets worse. And the Davis property just never changes except for.
They did get vehicles out last
Remove
month,
the vehicle and it gets mowed.
and then the neighbor mows it. But outside of that, there's no changes with it, to my knowledge.
Well, I was gonna put it on both their property tax bills at once, or give them both at the same time, more time. But what does the board think? And there's a judgment out there right now, if someone were to pass or something, that their estate would have to pay the judgment to sell the property. But Mark Renee, or the Tippecanoe County Attorney's not gonna come in and sell the property for unpaid tax bills. Because our bill's not part of the tax, it's just lower normal tax bills, part of the taxes at the moment. But we were giving, I know, Mr. Horn particularly, more time, because at some point he's moving in the right direction.
A few months.
I don't know, it's really a board decision there, what do you wanna do? Those two strike me as the two on here that are oldest and moving the slowest.
I think it's definitely fair, if you don't mind, I think it's definitely fair to say that there's multiple properties that are still under abatement of some sort. And what I mean by abatement is not the legal sense, but going through the process with me, because obviously you guys are all clear on 30 to 60 we have a buffer, so we keep it all legal and things like that. So, I mean, well, ultimately it's your guys' decision to do it. I do think that maybe having a couple more of these properties cleaned up would have a helping hand in it to not appear as if it's being singled out or anything like that. I can assure you with the list of ordinances that I do every month or every seemingly week, I can tell you that nobody's getting singled out. It's everybody. But regardless, your guys' decision.
Well, so many complaints come out of these properties that are in disrepair, along with the allegations that the board isn't doing what we're supposed to do by enforcing the ordinances. I just waver. Whenever we talk about it, people will say, and I've heard it in this room, well, what about the Wagner property? I'm not for sure it's fair. It all needs to be cleaned up, and we wish it was cleaned up yesterday. But if we're in that process that we've empowered you to do, I'm fine with us staying in that process as long as it's moving. It just moves slowly. That's all I would have to say.
Sure.
That's a good observation, because these properties are not the worst for sure, but they are the oldest. But the flip side of that is we have a judgment already. And if they get sold or someone passes, we're gonna get paid. But of course, as we did on the Davis property earlier, we got paid by putting it on the tax bill, and it really was going to tax it.
But currently, we're not expending any monies on any of these properties.
That's true.
Because we're not mowing or cleaning up or removing saplings or anything.
So with a judgment, we've done quite a bit. There's no tremendous urgency to do more unless you want to.
I think we follow through the legal process.
So be it.
See what else we've got. Oh, okay, so we have a little cheese factory update.
Okay.
And again, that means take about as long as, we're just gonna let it ride, right, for now.
Right.
On this one. What was I gonna say about it? Oh, cheese factory, okay, so we have a 12 apartment, not a condo, but nonetheless, kind of have to go with what the developer thinks he can rent. $700 a month on each, 1 bedroom, 1 bath, 12 apartment design that the developer wants to put in. Which the design looks really nice. The problem is, then we took the design in the last month to IDIM and said, okay, now, we did have hazardous waste signs, and it looked like they were put up by somebody overnight several years ago, but nonetheless. And there's been a remediation on this already. Can we just do this project? And IDIM said, no, you can do most of it. But there are 3 wells on the east side of that property, which is the side away from the railroad tracks. I think, right? East
I
side.
think the wells, if I'm not mistaken, are actually on the.
Well, now,
West side.
right, okay, yeah, wells is really not the boreholes, that's what I should have said, the samples.
Gotcha.
All right, the samples that I
Right,
took.
right.
Are ones that they're concerned about are just 3 of them, about 30 yards apart on the west side. And they said, well, we need a soil remediation plan for those 3 boreholes. And I said, okay, I don't know what that means. Does that mean we have to take bad soil away and bring back clean fill? He said, no, not necessarily, you just have to have a plan. So I'm meeting on Tuesday with a soil remediation guy who says he has a plan that doesn't involve taking contaminated soil away and bringing clean fill in. It involves something else, which I think is throwing some ameliorating chemical on it, and then you're fine, maybe, if IDIM says you are. So, yeah, long-winded way of saying, we're getting close. I mean, we ultimately, and just what we need to think about, certainly don't need to vote on it. But it's about a $1.5 million project. There are 12 separate I guess, 4 buildings of 2 floors each and 12 single bathroom, single bedroom apartments that we rent for $700 a month. That's what the developer thinks in the middle of Sharpsville, Indiana, he can do. And it would cost 1.5 million, so we probably have a 1.8 million roughly, just speaking from experience, not actual numbers on this project, because we're not quite sure what yet to do to the soil yet. So we have a $1.8 million TIF bond roll, and the reason it's not just 1.5 million, which is what the apartment buildings would cost, is we'd be rolling our redevelopment commission into that, which gives us control over the redevelopment area property taxes that we can abate or wheel and deal with that we just don't control right now. And man, if you can just get a redevelopment commission going, that is, you know, pulling your finger out of the dike as far as, you know, turning Sharpsville into LaPel or, you know, Fishers or Zionsville or something like that. But LaPel's the one that we also represent in Madison County is really taking off.
Now, is this, would we be just turning the property over to the land development?
Another good question. Normally, you would donate it because it's some piece of property that is generating 0 income for even the state. We don't control the property taxes directly, although we get some. But, so 2 good things about that question. Number 1, normally you donate it. That's the short answer. Or you sell it for $10. So when the deed says $10, another good valuable consideration, it really is $10, which is weird because every deed says that. $1 million deed says it. So donate is usually how the developer gets the land. And then question number 2 that was kind of rolled into that one is, well, once you donate it, what's it appraised for right now? I mean, what have you really donated? I don't know the answer to that. Is there an appraisal of the cheese factory property ever or anytime recent? Do we know?
I don't know one that was done.
I mean, I could just go to the Tipton County real property records and see what the tax appraisal is, but I haven't done that yet because I thought, well, do you have any idea of what we'd be donating? And if so, is there any value to it at all? I mean, obviously Kraft cheese, thought there was at one point, but it was not recently. It was pre-thallium and mercury. But apparently it's all just in these 3 little boreholes, and if we can just remedy that, I thought, well, even if we did have to cart the soil away and bring back clean fill, it's not that big a project. It's just, they're only about 30 yards apart.
Well, on Beacon, it has value at $7,000.
Okay. All right, well, that's,
And that's,
useful. What address? There's
that is 211 East Walnut.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever done an address for the cheese factory. All right, well, Beacon is as good as any.
Are we zoned over there for multifamily?
I don't know.
Good question, because I don't know.
I like zoning rules.
Well,
Follow.
Yes,
Um,
yeah, and
As far as I know, as a multi, I know it's zoned for residential over there.
But not
I
necessarily
don't
multifamily.
think there's any clause in there that saying multi-family or. I'm still, myself, I'm not real big on the apartment thing because
I'd rather. have
apartment people
condos.
come and go. If you've got like a condo type thing, then people are purchasing something and they're more apt to stay.
Yep, for
But
sure.
someone's gonna own this that will be, it will be in charge of the outside of them. People who come and go aren't responsible for keeping their yards tidy and clean and meeting our ordinances. So that gives us some, and then we have Mr. Enforce ordinances sitting over there.
Well, certainly, yeah, the developer, yeah, again, 2 good points there. One is the developer's gonna own it, and they don't want their property to go down in value, and they do want to collect their rent, and they don't want to get cited all the time. So you do have a little stroke. It's not like there's not an owner, there is an owner, and we have kind of the owner under our thumb. But also the people who actually live there aren't the owners, and therefore they don't care as much about the condition of the property. I don't know, do we have apartments here in Charlottesville?
No.
Are there, so that would be the first one, so that's good, because it means, we don't have any other apartments and apartment residents to police, we've only got that one. And probably every town does need
We have a
some
lot of
apartments.
rentals.
Yeah, but not apartments.
I would assume
Do we have
we could,
duplexes?
I would assume we could do a variance of some.
Oh, we could, yeah, she's just wondering if we have to. But yeah, you can always vary zoning laws, that's what the E and Z committee does, that we don't have, so we do it. But, yeah, so, good point, we do have an owner, it's just an absentee owner, and that means maybe the people who actually dwell there but don't own it, don't take as much care of it. But the flip side is, we don't have any apartments, and probably the town wants to go needs them. Do we have duplexes? Just rentals?
Just single family.
That one out there,
Is that right?
Is that one outside of town or inside?
Outside of town.
And
Probably
he
do
would,
need
the
something.
developer would include hard parking on the property and not, so people would not park on the streets.
Correct,
Okay.
correct.
That
And I'll share the diagrams with you. I'll email them around.
one of the things.
You'll see where the boreholes are.
The water bill themselves, how would that be done?
Oh,
You know,
but actually, another great
Because
question.
that's,
I mean,
each individual place would be separate, but are they gonna have their own
well, yeah.
water bill, or would that be on?
But we're not metered. I would think they would be the same as what a house is.
Yeah, a lot going on with that good question, yeah. I mean, septic is okay for these, apparently. They can make it work with septic. So, and what do we have, an 8-inch water main on either end of that property? Is that
Now,
right?
there's, I think it's a 6 on both, 4 on both sides, 4 and 2. I'm being coached over here.
6 on the one, 4 on the other.
There's a 4 on Walnut, I think, and a 6 on Elm, or vice versa.
Vice versa, because that's a steamer hydrant on that corner there.
So no 8-inch main,
No,
4 to 6.
4
Can
to
you
6.
get, like, loop it and make it?
It's already basically in a loop.
Well, regardless,
Towns are-
they think they can make that work.
Now, these are gonna be single-family units, or just 2 people units? No family.
Oh, yeah.
Well, they have 1 bedroom and 1 bath.
Right, so it'd be really not just single family, but most or all of them, single person,
Single person or senior citizen,
very well could be, yeah.
would it have elevators or is it stairs?
At least the drawings I've seen all look like stairs, but I'm not sure what the ADA rules are for, I mean, there's gotta be some handicap access, but maybe in a 2-floor apartment building, only to the downstairs. I'm not sure about that on that. The developer, I'm sure, knows the ADA rules. But, it looks pretty nice. We can just get the soil thing resolved. And that's so much better than when I first arrived here. We were told we couldn't do anything with it for 5 years, after which time we couldn't do anything with it for the next 5 years, or maybe ever. And IDEM seems to be a lot more flexible than that.
So how many square feet is in these rooms?
And
The old total,
right, just for purposes of the fact we're streaming this live, I'm gonna kind of repeat the question so everybody can hear what the question was. But the question is, how big is the single family apartment?
Right.
I don't know. I don't know how big it is square footage
well,
wise.
it could be very big,
No, it's not, they're not big,
maybe with $700.
but the developer tells me, yeah, we get 700 apiece for 12 single units,
Well,
which that would add a lot
now who gets this money?
to the town.
The
All of
developer.
it?
Well, the 700 goes to the developer, but what the town gets is
Tax
now
revenue.
control of property tax.
Tax revenue.
Which right now is
And the utility bills.
and utilities, who knows, there'll be, grocery store, something will pop up. So it really, these TIF bonds are really a good deal. Of course, Carmel is the example, going crazy with them. Several $1 billion in bonds, but the flip side is Carmel's the nicest place in the state. So,
That's for rich people.
yeah, well, just like Charlotte, will be.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I guess to summarize, we're making progress on that. If we can just get IDEM to tell us sort of the opposite of what I heard when I first got here, which is you'll never be able to do anything with that property. Man, it's right in the middle of town. It could really light the flame, I hope. All right.
So tell me this, I got 2 steel knees. Would I be on the bottom?
If there was a unit available when you applied, you could be on the bottom.
And if I wasn't, I had to climb the stairs? That won't work.
Well, then you wouldn't need to go there.
Handicaps wouldn't be able to go.
No, but if, as long as we offer them
So it would
what
be
we
on
have
that.
available, yeah, it's not us. We're not renting to
Yeah,
them.
but I mean, they would be
Yeah.
able, all handicaps would have to stay on the bottom. If
Right.
nothing's there, they'd be open on top.
Right.
Yeah, they build it in compliance with ADA rules, they would. But, do I off the top of my head know if you have to have handicap access to upper floors? I'm thinking that the answer is no, but you sure then have to have it to the lower floors.
The only way you can have them upstairs is the elevator, period.
Yeah, because, that amount of
That's
land, there's no
ADA.
way to have a
That's
ramp,
ADA
you know?
rule.
And,
Yeah.
and there's no elevator in the drawing, so I guess the developers figured out how to make all the downstairs ones handicap accessible.
Just for the record for this, ADA, you have to have a certain percentage of it, which 50% would meet that threshold. So
Is
you-
that right?
if it's
Yeah.
if it's 2 stories and below, the reason I know this is when we built the jail. Bottom is ADA compliant, upstairs is not. Otherwise, you'd have to put it.
But that's half of it.
That's half of it.
Okay, so there you go, that's what the developers figured out. So we're making progress on that, got another meeting next week with IDEM, say, hey, how about this for a soil remediation plan? But that's a broad term, soil remediation. But apparently that doesn't necessarily mean removing soil and replacing it, so that's good. Really nothing else from me.
Thank you for that.
You are welcome. Let's see, council comments.
This is my annual request for delay in meeting next month because of my work. I have to be at the Howard County Fair on the scheduled date for the town board meeting. So I would like,
Which would be the
10th,
10th, and if we could move it to the 17th, I would appreciate it.
Have no problem with that. Do you have any problems? No problem.
I would make a motion then for July that we move the meeting to the 17th at 5:30, same location.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? It is 17th.
Anything else? Okay. I'm concerned, really concerned about the town hall roof.
Mhm.
We've had, I would guess to say 5 to 8 inches of rain in however long, and is it still leaking? What are we doing? Is it tarped? We've got a denial from the insurance company.
Well, they sent us like $900 or something.
Maybe for the interior damage,
Probably.
but not a new roof because they say it's not hail
That's what they
damage.
told me, was they didn't see any evidence of something.
So we either need to move, like right now, on a second roofing opinion. We could present it if it's in our favor and we can go to arbitration, but we have to be taking action. This
Right.
month to month to month with nothing, even if the lift stations are a problem, is not acceptable.
Well,
Because we're giving up our rights under the
Yeah.
contract. If we're not aggressively trying to fix that roof and the damage is getting worse.
why don't we look at getting at least possibly 3 roofing companies in here to look at it and give us an estimate on getting it fixed.
Okay, will you?
Yeah.
You will take that as president and make
Yeah.
sure that that gets done?
Yeah.
Okay. Also, I've mentioned a couple times on the pickleball court, I did try to reach out to, he did my patio. Your friend that was at the, anyway, he does that kind of work. I'll remember his name
Okay.
eventually. And I think he wouldn't quote it, or he didn't quote it, I think because we have the surface already, and he likes to dig and put in the surfaces. So, but we took money from the public, and we took money from the area businesses. And to not get that pickleball, and we advertised that pickleball, I have it on my refrigerator, would be done in 2026. And to not do that, I think is awful. So either we ask for bids, Benji says, oh, it's just a big old puzzle. And it may be, we have all the stuff there, but to not do it and not give those donors and businesses recognition like we advertised we would, I think is not right. I guess the new dumpsters that the individual people have will not fit in the custom-made trash receptacles that our town has made and that look so nice.
Yeah.
So the complaint from the store is that people are using the green trash can,
Well, the green trash cans are gone now.
all of them, like as of this week.
They were gone this morning when I was.
Yeah, I come in today.
Okay, so, so that was to
We
me
just-
the worst
yeah.
part of it. So the orange ones can sit out, so that's that problem. And then just for everyone's interest, there was a mattress at the store that I guess a wife brought from Jane Drive and decided to leave at the store. I was wanting Benji to pick it up and take it back to Jane Drive, but I talked to the store and I said, you cannot have that mattress there. And he said, I pay $200 a month for that dumpster and I'll put it in the dumpster. I said, I don't care what you do with it. You put it in the dumpster, you put it in your building, or you call and have them pick it up. But it can't sit there. So 2 days later, it's gone. And I don't need to know where it went as long as it's not sitting outside. But I did call On Point. They will come for $25 on any given day that you arrange and pick up items. And nothing has to be wrapped in plastic, like the other company said. They'll pick up couches, mattresses, anything in special circumstances for a $25 charge. You will pay them direct at time of service and take your one item, or it can wait until the spring and fall. So I thought that was good news. Okay? And the mattress is home.
That could probably be put into the dumpster then.
Well, that's what they wanted to do, but I didn't know how he could shove a
Well,
mattress in a dumpster, but
That one over here?
at the
Oh, yeah,
store.
you can get it
Okay.
in there.
And then do we need another mowing person since Tom is now full-time?
I briefly talked to Benji about it today. I'd like to see him get at least somebody for the summer months, if we can find somebody that's interested in this summer
I have a resident on North Church Street that's
Okay.
interested.
to help with weed eating and stuff like that. Now, Tom, I don't know. I saw him out the other day weed eating down at the park and stuff, and he seems to be all right with it and have no problem. He works with Benji quite well. They get along good, and he gets down in the hole with him if he needs him. I just don't want to overwork Tom. So if we had somebody that could help with the trimming and the other, how old is this person?
60s. He's a very nice guy.
I myself would like to have somebody at least summer months. don't know if it'd be,
And we already did,
yeah, we had some.
and, no motion, no action was taken when we took him from part-time to full-time. So we have been paying the payroll for 2 full-times and a part-time. Up until when we dismissed the one employee,
right.
so, I mean, we've been
Right, we
spending
had
the
2
money.
full and 2, and 1 part-time, so we just be basically replacing the part-time.
Right, for this, just the summer.
I do. My experience from when I worked for the town and stuff, wintertime things drop off quite a bit. And I don't know that we need, but finding somebody that's willing to work just summer months, if we can, that's great.
Okay.
We'd be,
Do we need to open it up, put a posting on the
yes, I
door?
believe we do.
And we can maybe put a posting at the post office as long as it's typed, it cannot be handwritten.
I think that's right. I'm trying to, that's the kind of thing you probably do. Yes.
And
Yeah,
it's
we've
so
got
summer
all of
months, mowing, weed eating, and part-time.
Yes, ma'am.
And helping where needed on other things too.
Another thing you should be thinking about also, I drive around town a lot, I check around. The limbs are getting too long. Don't you have an ordinance on the limbs?
That are
You got
being,
limbs that are 20 feet long.
that are being picked up or,
Well, they're just sitting out there. And I talked to Tom, he says he can't get them in the truck that way.
that they need to be cut.
Well, don't you have orders on that?
Well,
Actually,
he
the
has a
ordinance-
forklift to
Actually, if
lift
the
them up.
ordinance
Well, I
says-
think you're supposed to have orders on that, don't you?
Actually,
6
the-
foot?
Actually, the ordinance is 4 feet,
4 feet.
Oh,
has to be tied in bundles and no larger diameter than 6 inches. But we never enforced the 4 foot in bundles when we could pick it up with the tractor. If it was stacked up neatly where we could scoop into it and load it on the dump truck, actually longer than 4 foot was easier to load because otherwise you'd go under it with the forks and it'd fall off both sides.
oh, I know.
So it was easier to pick up when it was long as it was stacked neatly to where we could get into it and pick it up.
But you drag out
But
the
if
back
it's,
end.
yeah, if it's 20 feet long, it needs to be cut.
You know where they're at. You know where they're at. They're right over there by me. Over there at Jerry's property.
Did you have them out by the road or?
Yeah.
I didn't notice them, I'm
There's a
sorry.
bunch of them along the road.
Okay,
But they're not getting picked up.
and if that's why, then we'll have to talk to, if it's Jerry's property, then they'll have to be cut. So, at least small enough that it'll fit in the dump truck.
Well, they're all, there's some long.
Now, I know we used to load some of them that Sid hauled Tipton and they were dragging the grass behind the truck half the time, but he was like, leave it alone.
I know there's a lot of limbs in town here.
So just before we forget, we're gonna hire somebody for the part-time. Yeah, we
Yeah.
probably need to vote on that, because we're spending some money.
Okay.
And then on stuff like limbs, probably need to save that just for open discussion, just so that everybody streaming can see who's talking and you can identify yourself. But it's just kind of hard now that we have to do the streaming and the live presentation.
Okay, I would like to make a motion that we advertise to hire a part-time employee for summer months to mow and weed eat and other jobs as they're able to do.
Second. All in favor?
I
Any opposed?
have nothing else.
Okay. Ross?
Said my piece.
Okay. Open discussion.
I'll go first. My name's Roger Fouch. I live at 407 East Elm Street, and I have some questions. Back in April, there was approval for an expenditure of $771.45 for weed spray.
Yes.
Is that weed spray gone or being used or?
Being used. We were buying Buccaneer, and I did that too when I was here. We buy Buccaneer from the county, and it works good. It's expensive. But every now and then I bought like a 20-gallon barrel or something like that. And it was expensive to get that much, but it lasted the summer.
I didn't,
Yeah,
I haven't seen
And
any
that-
sprayed, so.
that's what, I think Benji bought this time, it was a bigger container. It cost more. But he was gonna try it out and try to get enough to last the season with the mixture. So I, actually, what they're
Kept somewhere where it won't freeze.
yeah, it's in the pole barn down there, it's heated.
He didn't, okay. My other question I brought up to you, Steve, last month, the water leak on North Street that's been there for a year and a half.
It's on the schedule, but locates called in about it. We discussed that before you got here. I had Benji contact Duke Energy, they're gonna come out and support that pole. And then we're gonna have it backed out because it's being so close to that pole.
Yeah.
My concern was with the power lines right there and everything, that pole.
I thought you'd have, but they come out and do that, they'll hold the pole.
Uh,
They'll come out and hold the
Yeah,
pole.
that's what I told Benji, so I told him not to dig it until we can get Duke out here. He's got them on the schedule, I believe, I don't know what the date is, so it's supposed to be, I think, within the next week or two.
Last month, I also had a suggestion, and I don't know if it's been followed up, to ask the city of Kokomo or the city of Tipton if they could use their street sweeper and sweep the whole town and then fill these potholes.
Benji's been checking around, he can't find anybody that will allow us to use their sweeper. We're looking at renting one and see what the cost is.
Can you just pay their employee and let them pay, come and do it? Well, the,
Yeah, but then
I don't think.
they don't wanna take the liability for it. See, we did that once before, Windfall came over, they had to send their employees so that,
right,
but nobody wants to do it now because of liabilities. We're having some difficulty finding somebody. So we're looking at renting one and see what the cost is there. And like I
a real
told,
one, a real one.
yeah, a real one, not an inside factory one. Sorry about that. But yeah, see what the cost is, but like I told Benji too, I don't wanna rent one, have it sitting for a couple weeks and not being used. I want it to be brought in,
Used,
used, and sent back.
I agree.
So that costs
I
us a
think it'd
bunch
be
of money.
great, yeah, I hope you can do that.
As far as potholes, he filled a bunch of them, but there were stones put in a lot of them. And
He hasn't put any patch in since.
he patched Main Street, I was talking to him when he was
That's
doing it.
the old stuff, that they didn't have the pre-mix yet.
Okay.
Big
They
chunk of
patched
stuff.
my street, so,
Pardon me?
so they patched my street, so.
That was a patch before they started making the fine hot patch,
Okay.
and hadn't been done since. And there's a lot of patching that needs to be done. But it'd be great if you could get that sweeper, get all that cleaned up, and then go about doing the potholes.
I
That'd be
agree.
great work. So another thing, and I'm gonna speak about our town employee. He's not here, so I won't be humiliating him, Rob. Right? I kind of watch what's been going on. Nosy. I'm nosy. I've been told I'm nosy, and that's okay. But let me give you an example. Like this week, I've seen him come to work about between 7:30 and 8 o'clock. Let's say typical Monday morning was, the truck had set with partial load of limbs and stuff from Friday's pickup. So truck's there half full on Monday, and I don't think I didn't see anything done on Monday. And I think he goes home about 2:30 in the afternoon. I think they leave for lunch about 11, maybe come back at 1:30. So on Tuesday, that's the pickup day, right? They finish loading the truck. Both of them take it to Tipton at 9 o'clock. They come back and fill it up again, and it sets down there now. Do you think you could, there's still stuff out to pick up there? Do you think you could go to Tipton to dump again and continue picking up?
Well,
And then he leaves there again, I didn't see him any Tuesday afternoon.
I know on the The pickup is Tuesdays and Fridays. And
Doesn't
we,
have to be that.
um,
It doesn't have to be that.
used to do it on Monday and Fridays,
But why,
but they're closed on Monday.
okay, but I'm just saying, there's still stuff out. Why can't they make a trip to Tipton, come back and pick up and make a trip to Tipton?
Well, like I
And why does
said,
it take both of them to go to Tipton?
I don't know there. Sid used to yell at me and said it doesn't take two to push a button. Cause I'd offer to go with them.
Then there's only one thing been mowed this week, and that's the park, and that's because the church had their dinner down there on Wednesday. Nothing else has been mowed. Lester mows his across the road by the railroad now. The guy up here in a double wide mowed that.
Well, I've helped out by mowing the cheese factory before, so
I'm just
I
saying.
just take some of the load off of them.
And, you know, and I think Benji's been doing the mowing, and Tom, the 70-year-old, out here doing the weed eater, he's got that strap on his back.
That's Tom's choice. Tom told
I don't know.
Benji
I'm just saying.
he
I
likes
thought
the
we
way
had
he mows.
Tom to mow. But anyway, that's all I have.
In reference to the load going to Tipton, we used to do the same thing. We'd have a half load. There was no sense in wasting a trip to Tipton for a half load.
It lets the truck be available for something else to do.
If they need it for something, yeah, I agree, but
There is a lot.
if they didn't need it, then
You can sweep the street and paint the lines and get ready for the 5th of July, it'd be nice. Lines haven't been paid in 3 years.
probably
Yeah,
been
basically
longer than that.
hasn't been
That used to be Steve Cox's thing that he loved to do.
Hey, I'm Joe Fouch, I'd like to speak. I partner hit a little girl the other day. And I don't see any supervision around here on these kids. I partner hit 2 running after a cat, and that made my heart beat bad. And I've been checking around town here. Ray got after me, and I didn't like that at all. And I talked to an officer at Code Board. Did you tell the board what you were gonna do to me?
I'm not responding to that, Joe.
You said you were gonna arrest me.
I'm not responding to that right now, Joe.
Well, I'm telling you, I want you to arrest me because I want to file a lawsuit.
If you'd have been there
You're
5 more
still-
minutes, you'd have been going. If you'd have been there a little bit longer, Joe, you would have went to jail with the rest of them.
No, I wouldn't, because I didn't know nothing about it.
And that's the
That's
reason you.
your fault. You should have told me.
I'm not going to.
Next time you have a raid, you tell me.
Not a chance on
No,
that, Joe. I can't do
doesn't
that.
happen, Joe.
Well, the
That
deal
doesn't
is, he tried to tell me that I was gonna be arrested when I didn't know nothing about
You didn't hear my complete
Ignorant of
sentence,
the
Joe.
laws, no.
it. Well, I heard every move you made,
All right, Joe.
and you do bad stuff. I know. I've been watching you. You seen me last night watching you?
Oh, I saw what you were
Well,
doing.
hey, I'm checking.
Okay.
I know what you do. But
Okay.
anyway,
Yes.
this town is a mess. It's the dirtiest I ever seen. The mowing's bad, potholes bad. Nobody wants to do the job, and I had 15 people ask me if I would want to be a town marshal. What do you do when you go for town marshal? They asked me, 2 asked me last night. They said, Joe, why don't you be town marshal? Because somebody needs to be in here 24 hours a day.
We can't afford
We can't
that.
afford 24 hours a day. That's why we have 3 officers, so we can
Yeah, but
spread
they're
that
not
out.
around, because I called in the other night, and you think they came out here? I'm not gonna call no more.
About your comment on kids, this board has nothing to do with supervising kids. Okay?
Well,
That's a parent's
I
responsibility.
see that now,
You
if,
cannot enforce that.
now how about this? Last night, I was sitting over there in front of Ray. If I was Ray, I went out and got these kids, they were on the lawnmower driving down the street. So what should be done?
Where would they go? Were they going up? to the
Driving
store to get
around here
fuel?
in front of the store and back and forth. And if I was a police officer, I'd have to stop and say, hey,
Well,
kids,
I guess you're gonna have to apply to be a police officer then.
yeah, I have to do that. How old you gonna be?
Did you see it, Ray, the kids?
I saw it both times, and the first time when that little girl ran out in front of you, if you would have looked to your left, I was sitting right up there,
I saw.
and I did have a very stern talking to with that little girl. I did tell you that, Joe. Not, I didn't tell you that, but that is what happened. And then yesterday when you were stalking me, and then I turned down that alley to go back down,
I saw you there.
you
too.
saw me say something too then, because then they turned around and they left and went home, didn't they?
Yeah, another thing, you called me out the cemetery the other night when I left
I followed you?
Yeah,
Well, there's a lot of roads in this town, apparently.
I know, but I thought, well, I was on the golf cart and I thought, what's Ray want now?
Joe, I got more important stuff to do than follow you, buddy.
Well, I got more stuff to follow you around, but I know I've been following you.
More.
But anyway, that's all I got to say.
Okay.
Thank you.
Be more than happy to have a conversation with you after this, Joe. I'd be more than happy to talk to you after this.
But I did talk to the police. They said you were wrong.
Okay, and I'll talk to you after this if you'd like. That's only if you'd
No, I
like.
don't want to talk to you.
All right, I don't want to talk to you then either.
Well, that's good.
All right.
Let's keep all our comments from the lectern there. Anybody else? Are we having people sign up here? Because my understanding, and certainly I may be remembering
What,
one of
get
the
on
other
the
towns. Well, here's how most towns do it. I don't know if this is how we're doing it, but next month it's for real. You know, we really are mandated to start in July. You know, most towns, you have to sign in. There's a 20-minute total limit on public comment, 3 minutes per speaker. So if you're not one of the first 7 signing in, you ain't talking. Do we have a sign-in sheet? No.
No, we've never seen a need in it in the past. We've got the open discussion. We did go to the 3-minute limit a while back. We don't
Yeah,
strictly enforce that.
I have noticed that. That's fine. We're still within the 20 minutes.
Yeah. We normally don't have that too many speakers. Do I take a motion to,
Well, unless, does anyone else have
I
anything?
didn't see anybody.
I want a fence permit.
You want to
want
what?
Anything I want. I want a fence permit.
Oh,
Okay,
we didn't know you was here for Pittsburgh. You didn't get on the agenda.
I just got here.
Okay,
I had to work.
do you have, plans or
I
anything?
got a picture.
Okay, we can, come on up, dude, talk to us then. Yeah,
It's beacon.com.
okay,
I just want to put a fence around the property. I was beacon free and I'm inside the property line.
okay.
I want to put a shed in this corner and then a shed there. That's it.
She's gonna get you a application for a permit, and what that does is you have to go to your neighbors and see if they have any complaints. So I don't.
Well, I can't talk to him because I see him. So what am I supposed to do about that? Because I will Kyle. I don't like it.
Oh, I listen.
Okay. You know where I'm at.
yeah.
But I'm 2.5 feet off the property line,
Off the property line.
on the inside, because that's where those 2 big trees are.
You can
My-
unlock it.
I want-
You guys unlock it.
Your only other neighbor would be back here.
Doing the problem.
Yeah,
I'm entertaining the problem.
yeah. there's no problem. So you're going on the east side of your
Yeah, I
property.
just put a box in there,
Okay.
but I want to put a shed back in the corner because the white shed's falling. Right. I gotta put a shed, and I want to put it back here for flavor.
Like I said, she answered the application. I understand their situation, that it'd be difficult to probably get permission, but since you're talking about.
You don't want him over there, do you?
He don't wanna be over there either.
I'll beat him.
Not you, right? Since you're coming 2 feet off the property line,
I'm way off.
he's way off the property line, and what type of fence you talking about?
Right, it's good.
6 foot?
6 foot. Same thing's in the backyard.
Okay. So you just attach the ones in the
I'm just
backyard?
gonna
and go
turn
out?
it around, bring it over, it's gonna be a little bit before the fire hydrant. I don't want it all the way over the fire hydrant.
Okay.
Because later on, I'm gonna turn this into parking lot.
Do we have anything about the front of the property?
I was gonna
I know there's I think there's
a foot and a half
a,
off sidewalk. That's what I'm shooting
well, I
for.
think there's a house down here that has a fence.
Sure.
I know, Mark over here is
Yeah.
having a soft sidewalk.
well, it was an attachment.
And me, I'm gonna leave enough to grow the mower down the edge of it. You know,
Okay.
in the front. That's about. Because, as far as I know, the sidewalk is basically the property line. The edge of it.
Well, and I'm not even really concerned about the property line as much as I am with the view from down here on this street.
Oh,
Look, I know, but looking down for traffic, I don't wanna
well,
see
if
a,
you had that problem, you got a bush right here when you pass.
That's what he,
But yeah.
it shortens the distance from view of a vehicle, but it looks like you're gonna be far enough back on the road. Like I said, she'll get you the application for it.
Get you on the agenda.
Yeah, get you on the agenda for, we'll bring you in for next month or something.
okay, here's your application.
Cool.
And bring it back and we'll issue it right at the meeting.
Was there,
I gotta come here again?
Yes, you do.
Was there what?
Shit.
Oh, I don't know, I didn't put it there.
Okay.
okay,
I think it
That
was
was
the
there when I
sign.
was-
that was the sign in, I guess it was probably already laying there, but it's laying in front of me, so.
That was for the open house probably.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah,
when I came and put stuff in here earlier, I saw it, and I was like, oh, is Steve here already?
no, I just want, my name's on it, I was here.
That's what I was thinking, it was something you brought in, I was like, what, you coming?
I don't think we probably need.
Okay,
I'll make a motion, we adjourn after we sign the minutes and our claims.
I'll second that.
all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Until July 17th, right?
Yeah.
Yes.